Is it even possible to embrace your messy, beautiful self in today's world? You could be easily blocked by perfectionism. That's what we're exploring today. I'm Fatima, and welcome to Soulfully Aligned, a warm place for you to remember who you are and to restore peace, ease, and purpose. Why is it attractive to be embracing who you are, being authentic? I'm seeing in some studies that people are saying that authenticity is the highest frequency and the highest vibration, sometimes even over gratitude. Why is this so demanding in today's society? Let's think about it. Most of our lives, we were trained to be chosen and to be liked, to be right, to be picked. When you were younger, they had to pick your teammate and pick your team. You often wanted to be the one who was chosen, right? Wanting to get that invite to the girls' sleepover or wanting to be invited to sit in the cafeteria with other people. Or maybe you weren't sitting with other people in the cafeteria and that felt isolating. And then we graduate, we go into high school or prom and wanting to get the date and wanting to be homecoming queen. And I'm not saying everyone had these goals, but ultimately not wanting to be left aside, this sense of belonging happens super early on in our lives, especially in childhood. Now, that's just childhood to high school. Going to college, were you selected for the most prestigious school? Were you someone that you went to a community college, then someone who went to an Ivy League school? Another piece, after we graduate, we go into workforce. And okay, what is your salary? Where are you working? How long have you been working there? What's your job title? How quickly can you get promoted? How quickly can you build a team and be seen as someone who can move teams and motivate people into doing things, who can get things done, even if the project is expansive and extensive, knowing that you need help, but you still go choose to do it anyway? Where does all of this come from? And we see that it's a subtle seed of perfectionism that is introduced to us in our childhood. And we go along in life through adolescence, into adulthood, into having children. How long have you been dating? When will you get married? You're going to have children. How many children? Oh, and how do your children actually behave? The cycle starts all over again. And what's interesting is there is a rise, an increase, about 68% of anxiety has increased because of perfectionism. So it is this silent bully, inner critic within our hearts and in our minds, and also reflected in society if we're not careful to see what's happening, that is causing these different mental health issues to rise. It is emotionally exhausting. I don't know about you, I have felt emotionally exhausted. I was in a yoga class today, my teacher training course. Been doing yoga since I was 16. I'm now 35, so I have the honor of actually going back to class. And have you ever been in one of those classes where someone is super competitive? They're trying to do all the asanas and they're inside of postures that they have not stretched and given themselves enough breathing room in order to show up. It's quite saddening, to be honest. The practice of yoga is about connecting to your breath, connecting to your inner world. It's a somatic practice that connects your mind and your body, and you're using your breath to connect your movement through flow. How you show up on the mat is also how you show up outside of life. And so when I see people getting on a mat in yoga and they're doing everything to have the perfect downward dog, perfect sun salutation, there is a level of lack and a level of shame, unfortunately, that some people have when they're trying to perfect something that is a practice that is meant to help you evolve and get better and refine yourself over time. Perfectionism is a lie. Perfectionism has you believing that you can't be your beautiful, messy self. And the thing is, we call it messy because that's what society has said. It's messy. It's not right. You're not good enough. You're not chosen. Society has put those lies. And I'm here to demystify all of that. You can sit inside of your beautiful, messy self, whether you want to call it messy or not. And the truth is, messy is really authentic. Messy really means good enough. Messy means you're the only person on this entire planet who can do what you do, how you do it, when you do it, because of why you choose to do it. That's the real truth. Let's invert the language of messy and turn it into a message that you're actually able to teach and talk about to other people, because you're elevating other people to come out of conformity and being robotic and how they should act and appear in order to be enough based on society. Ultimately, perfectionism, it is rooted in shame, and it can come from your desire to be loved. It's a natural human quality. However, it may have not been given to you by your parent when you needed it the most when you were younger. So this identity and persona can begin to form that causes you to want to be perfect in how you move, in how you dress, in how you act, in the job that you do, in the friends that you make, in the relationships that you create, or people that you date. And it's all with an underlying emphasis and desire to finally be enough, to finally be approved. And I want to just let that sit there for a moment, because that is something that you will never be able to be enough based on someone else's rubric. You will never be enough based on the job. When's the last time that your job said, hey, you've done enough in your job and you can just chill for the next 2 years and we'll still pay you? You don't have to perform. You don't have to show up to none of the calls. You don't have to come to the job. Nothing. There is always a constant turning, a rat race, a inner running that I have to continue to show up. I want to get paid, and maybe get paid more if you're in the 9 to 5 space, or if you're in a business and you are an entrepreneur and you're trying to create more value in the marketplace so that you can scale. There's always this, I have to perform, I have to give in order to, and do more in order to be enough. If that's your place, if that's the place that you're coming from, that is unhealthy. Instead, where you can shift is going in a place of service, especially if you're an entrepreneur. You want to do more in service of other people. And when you're doing it from the place of service, money naturally will follow. When you're in your workplace and you do it from a place of service, naturally elevation will occur, not necessarily for the promotion. You hope that those things will come, but focus on actually being in service. So having a clear understanding that you can be who you are, and the benefit of actually deciding to be yourself is you will begin to have more authentic relationships. You will begin to be in your role or a job and do activities in your time that you actually enjoy, that spark joy for you. You will begin to see health benefits as well: more ease, more peace, more rest. Your mind not constantly churning, trying to think about, how do I get out of this situation that I hate so that I can get into something else, where you're in a place of doing things because that's what you want to do and you're embracing yourself. It's easier to make decisions that align better for you. As I mentioned before, perfectionism is attaching our identity to self-esteem and to results. Our self-esteem and identity is attached to performance. It's attached to results. It's attached to the approval of other people. When we don't feel loved and accepted by those who matter most to us, and typically, especially in our younger years, is our parents, that persona can start to shape and you don't even realize it. The irony of perfectionism is that it actually is a distraction to excellence. There's a fine difference and a fine balance between the two. Excellence is coming from a state of ease, of peace, of flow, of knowing, of embodiment. Perfectionism is coming from a state of fear, anxiety. If I don't do this thing, and if I don't do this thing right, I might be abandoned, I might be rejected. I remember when I danced in Ebony Fire in the marching band at Hampton University when I was in college. The first year I tried out and I did not make it. I went back that summer and I started to train in the middle of my internship. And ultimately, when I came back, I was able to get a spot on the team going into my sophomore year. Now, what was amazing was I believed in myself enough to go back the second time, despite the rejection. It was challenging. I did have to coach and talk myself into it, but I knew I wanted it more than anything. The challenge is when the season actually started, I felt I had to be perfect in my moves and consistent in everything that I did. We had to audition every single week for a spot on the field. And that level of competition made me feel disconnected from myself, and my self-worth and self-esteem was plummeting each week, until I got to a point where I said, I'm no longer going to care about what they think. I'm no longer going to care if my leg is high enough, if my split is fast enough, all the things. I just stopped caring because I was already low and everyone was already talking about me and why did she make the team? Why did she do that? It was such an experience that I still remember to this day, but now I understand why I felt so hurt inside because I allowed the noise of outside distractions and people's opinions to get to me. The same thoughts that got me into the room the second time in a spot on a very limited team were the same type of thoughts that I allowed to be submerged way below the surface and allowed other people's voices to be the ones that instead mattered until I got upset. Then that same courage that I had before rose up to the top and I realized I needed to make a different decision. I wanted to be on the team, but I didn't like the conditions of being on the team. And so I decided to resign. Although I still dance now, I love it. I realized that certain things, the competitive nature versus collaborative spirit and an environment to really develop and grow is what I needed. And without even knowing what that was, I made the best decision for myself. So, what can you do to embrace your beautiful, messy self? The first thing I want you to do is super simple. I want you to breathe right here, right now. I want you to put your hand over your chest and I want you to breathe. I want you to inhale with me for a count of through your nose, and I want you to exhale with me for a count of through your mouth. What I'm doing is helping you connect back to your body. Your body is a part of your lifeline. It will tell you when things are out of whack, and it will tell you when things are at ease, flow, and peace. And in order to know that, we have to just take a moment to breathe. So let's do it together. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Inhale for 4, 2, 3, 4, and exhale for 4, 2, 3, 4. Simple. Took 5 seconds. Do that anytime that you're feeling like you're outside of yourself, you're emotionally exhausted, you feel overwhelmed, the emails are coming in, people are asking questions. Maybe your partner or your children or your parents are needing things from you. Take a moment to just breathe. The second thing I want you to do is I want you to find an activity that inspires and sparks intrinsic motivation. Do something for the hell of it. Do something because it feels good to you, and ideally something that is not connected to your 9 to 5 job. Do something that sparks creativity and fun and sparks your joy. I like to think of roller skating. I used to think that I wanted to do it and get paid for roller skating on the quads. But then I realized that it's so precious of an activity. I don't want money connected to the thing that brings me joy. I don't want to put performance next to something that gives me peace like that. So instead, I just do it for fun. Think about that activity for yourself. So the next step is release the need to get it right. I know my perfectionists, queens, and masters, we like to get it right. We like to ace it on the first try. The reality is, you're not going to do that. Not all the time. And in fact, you shouldn't even have that be the measure. Learn how to be in the process. Learn how to do things with peace, presence, and pace. Allow that to be one of your goals. The next thing is to understand that you are going to make mistakes. Perfectionism, again, is how can I do everything right? What we're embracing is our messy, beautiful selves, which means we don't get it right. We get it right in whatever way it's supposed to be right for us in that moment, to that version of ourselves that's being brought to the table. You will make a mistake. And I'm saying this because I need to be honest with you. I don't want to give you fluff about different things. You will make mistakes, and that's okay. What you can do to bounce back from them, one is to acknowledge that it happened. And again, you can always breathe. Look at what actually happened. What was the context around the situation where you made the mistake? Were you rushing too fast? Was someone pressuring you to make a decision that you weren't ready to make? Did you not leave yourself enough time to get whatever the thing is done? Look at the context of how it actually happened. Don't just focus on the outcome. Look at the process, how it happened. And even when you look at the process, don't try to perfect the process. Get better at being present with the process, but understand that it's okay to make mistakes. You're not a failure. That moment was just an opportunity to learn something new about yourself. That's all I have for you today. I really hope that you enjoyed this, being here at Soulfully Aligned. Masters, I created a free 5-day guide to grace, which is essentially a workbook that I created for you to help you to release self doubt and release inner criticism so that you're able to embrace more self love, self trust, and ultimately shift your identity so it is unshakable no matter what happens. You can see it in the description and as well as in my bio. If you enjoyed this episode, let me know in the comments and let me know if you're ready to embrace your messy, beautiful self. What do you think? What else do you want to hear more of? You can put it in the comments.